Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, we know there is a massive cover-up of human trafficking and child sexual exploitation going on in this country. There are headlines every single day that you never hear about, even if you do hear about this latest prostitution bust-up in California, where they were able to capture hundreds of pimps and rescue children. You only hear about that for about a day, and then it goes to the wayside. Millie Weaver joins me now. You actually just spent about a week in California where you were doing some investigation into that particular story I talked about, as well as others. I know you're going to be premiering one of those interviews here coming up in the next segment, so stick around for that. But I really just wanted to take this opportunity to kind of look at some of those stories that we don't hear about. Perfect example today. I mean, this is something you just never hear about or never would have thought. Apparently now sexual molestation of innocent children is a new way to get initiated into a gang. So this is a suspected gangster disciples member charged in a horrific child abuse case. And Antonio Lamar Banks, 25, he was arrested. This is coming out of Lithonia, Georgia. And what police say may have been a despicable case of sexing a member into a gang. So, perfect example of the type of abuse you don't really hear about in the seedy underworld. But I know, Millie, you just really kind of got introduced to a lot of that dark side this past week.
Yes, well, we went out and investigated in California, which many people don't know that California actually has the most cases of reported child sex trafficking out of any other state. So it is the breeding ground. I mean, it's pretty bad. We heard of that recent case where the 474 people were arrested in California for human trafficking. 28 children were rescued. I mean, it's pretty bad when this many adults are all engaging in this type of behavior. It's really gruesome.
And with the advent of the internet, there's such an easier way for people to film themselves doing things with innocent children or people they need money for drugs. And so they go beyond the scope of reason there because the drugs take over. People hear about those kind of stories, but you kind of were schooled a little bit on how it's the flavor of the elites that go for these super young kids. So those are the things we don't really hear about.
That's right. From what I heard from Dr. Lois Lee, who is the founder of Children of the Night, she actually kind of explained to me how the child sex trafficking aspect, it's very risky. The punishments are pretty bad. And so it's not something that your average pimp necessarily wants to get into or trafficker wants to get into. Mm-hmm. But it seems to be that the sex trafficking with children seems to be something of a delicacy amongst the elite.
So the people who can afford to pay off the police chief or who knows how to keep things silent, or they're kind of in a position where they're not going to have to face the same type of charges as your average person.
Exactly.
Wow.
Perfect example is billionaire Jeffrey Epstein.
Exactly.
The man
can pay people enough to tell them it's okay that you're an underage girl coming here.
That's right. And this man's friends to princes, an American president, celebrities. We know the Clintons. We know Stephen Hawking. I mean, he's got a pretty interesting repertoire of people he associates with, and he has that pedophile island. People speculate that it's a pedophile island that he has, that he takes.
Or he keeps his underage sex slaves. Girls have spoken out about it. And isn't he actually now in prison, or did he get out?
Well, what happened was he was convicted of only one count of soliciting prostitution from a minor. And that's just the type of thing you see with these people who hold these positions in society where they have so much influence that they can get things severely reduced. Mm-hmm. So he really got off pretty good. It was also pretty interesting because there was a case that actually was 6 years old. It was a lawsuit filed by a Jane Doe that alleged that he had actually set up these hidden cameras inside one of his mansions and had brought, politicians or influential members of society there to, film them.
It's the honey trap, so you can blackmail them.
Film them engaging in orgies and sex with minors.
That's what Mike Cernovich broke on the Alex Jones show last week.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty amazing to see that the elite, they can afford to engage in this type of behavior. They can afford those risks. And I'm pretty sure you might have saw the Dr. Phil interview, but Dr. Phil actually had a guest on, and it was pretty amazing. According to Dr. Phil, the victim had, reliable sources who were able to corroborate with what she said, and Dr. Phil's people were able to say, okay, yeah, this person is not crazy. This person is actually saying this. And
now she's in her mid-20s, but she's speaking out about something that happened to her when she was underage, just getting flown around on private jets. It's just human trafficking of sex slaves among the elite. See, that's, I think, very interesting because Dr. Phil, he hasn't been taken off the air and he dares speak out about this, but go on.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't, but I'm pretty sure that it was in another country that one country actually cut his broadcasting after that. But as far as in the United States, he still is on the air. I mean, I've just got so many different stories here of sex trafficking busts, and it's pretty overwhelming. Here's another one.
Hollywood, perfect example. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting one here. This article talks about how Alec Baldwin allegedly engaged in these sex scenes with a co-star that was underage. This was with Nikki Reed. And, he tried to allege that he didn't know she was underage at the time, but his producers are claiming that's not true.
I'm sure he would have demanded a different actress.
Well, I mean, okay, the name of the movie was called Minnie's First Time. Okay. I think that would kind of make me want to ask, hey, you look pretty young. Let me see your ID. That's that simple. And, that's more along the lines of what people should do. If you think somebody's young, ask to see their ID.
Right. Well, and this is the type of stuff that they pump out of Hollywood, is this type of that it's okay to engage in these sexual relationships with underage people. We see it, who's Woody Allen, perfect example of a director that kind of puts that vibe out in his movies a lot because that's his subconscious coming out in his directing. But of course, Alec Baldwin is the one who is really being a President Trump on Saturday Night Live and pushing back against all of his sex scandals. And it's just terrible. I know you've got some good Hollywood stories from being out there as well. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, another one is we all know about Roman Polanski and how the Sharon Tate situation that happened, and he himself was a pedophile that had to then leave the country. And it's like, why does Hollywood get away with some of these things? And I know that he didn't, that's why he left. But at the same time, there are people wanting to advocate for him and bring him back
so he can win his lifetime achievement
artist.
award.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like, okay, this person is doing something that's completely wrong.
Oh, and then this one, 2 Toledo pastors arrested for sex trafficking children. This came out April 7th, Toledo, Ohio. FBI arrested 2 pastors in Toledo for sex trafficking of children, NBC 24 reports. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So they knowingly recruited, enticed, harbored, transported, provided, or obtained a person that they knew was less than 18 years old to engage in commercial sex acts. So it's everywhere, folks. Your church, your gang members, your Hollywood stars, your elite people that they're at a youth home for the kids, that they just want to help the kids. So I'm thankful that this type of stuff is finally coming to light. Millie, we've got just about a minute left. Briefly, let everyone know what's coming up with this report. What have you got for us?
Well, we have a lot more reports to come. We actually have another report where I talked to a Hollywood insider who has all kinds of stories and connections. That will be very interesting. We also are going to take you guys and show you the stuff we can show you on the dark web, where we have somebody who is going to remain anonymous for their own safety and security, that actually shows us where people can buy and sell children online. I mean, just like they buy and sell drugs online on this dark web. It's pretty disturbing, Leanne. And so we're going to have a lot more reports to come, guys. So stay tuned. We will be, exposing them like each day throughout this week.
Dropping them down. Thank you so much for doing that, Millie. I know, as a mother, it must be extremely difficult to put yourself in that position. And I know when I've done some reporting on that, you can't sleep at night just with the darkness and the evil that is out there. But we are finally shining a light on that. So stick around. Millie's report from California will be coming right up after this very quick break.
Alex Jones here with a very important news update to anybody out there that wants to be prepared. But it goes beyond being prepared. Our bodies absolutely must have the good halogen iodine or we will die. And you look at all of the thyroid problems and all the people that don't have energy and that have all sorts of hormone problems. And from my research and a lot of just mainline research, it leads back to iodine over and over and over again. It's as important as vitamin C. If you don't get iodine, you die. But most people are just deficient, so they're low energy, they're sick. You got to have iodine in your body so that your body can produce the hormones you need. It is the base to so many things. And since I got into iodine 4 years ago, we've helped change the entire paradigm by developing and bringing to the public deep earth crystals from 7,000 to 12,000 feet of the purest iodine available. Other iodine comes from the ocean or from other byproducts of chemical facilities and is tainted. It's bound. It's not absorbable. I tried it. And I had incredible effects even with dirty iodine because the body needs it. When you don't have iodine, it absorbs the chlorine, the fluoride, and all these other bad halogens. Do yourself and your family a favor and check out the importance of iodine for yourself. I think you're going to be blown away. And whatever you do, support the broadcast and get a bottle of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2. Also consult your physician because if you've been deficient in it or have other issues, it can have some dramatic effects. As for me and most folks I talk to, it's been a game changer in the positive column, but still consult your physician because iodine is no joke. It's a key building block of the body. And if you haven't had it for a long time and suddenly have it, some folks say they've experienced things like a detoxing effect and things like that. You've got to have vitamin C. You've got to have iodine to live. You got to have water to live. Iodine is key. You must have it, but consult your physician first before you get powerful Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2 at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll free. We can answer your questions, 888-253-3139.